Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we get a story time of this kid who loves that like skibbity toilet meme type thing and ends up flooding his entire school because he tries to like crawl into the toilets and like become the skibbity I don't even know, man. It's like actual brain rot when I say that sentence, but the story is pretty funny. I know you will enjoy it, so leave a like on the video right now to claim your free nothing. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So anyways, we're going to call a subscriber submitted this story Alex. So anyways, over the summer, there's this trend that blew up, which is this like, it's this like Gmod toilet type thing that has like gone over this like viral song. And it's like turned into this like crazy, like 50,000 part series or whatever. However, like I'm not going to go into if it's good or not, because I just don't have the time to watch that, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to become a, God, this sentence, skibbity toilet connoisseur, bro. That's, anyways, I don't know and I don't care. But anyways, the important thing is the subscriber Alex has this kid in his class who we are going to call Ben. And Ben has this unhealthy obsession with this like skibbity toilet thing. He literally every single day he comes in singing like the theme song like in class, and every single day without a doubt the teacher has to be like, Ben, shut the fuck. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Teacher wouldn't say that. Teacher wants to say that, dude. The teacher literally wants to say that so bad. But the teacher's like, Ben, can you please turn it down a little bit? Can you please not be singing in class, Ben? Please, Ben. I just want to retire. I want to go home. Anyways, so yeah, this kid, you know, is obsessed with like the skibbity toilet trend or whatever. And you know, I don't care if you like it or not, but please just relax is all I'm trying to say. And the subscriber, one day, you know, he's sitting in class and he really has to go to the bathroom. Like, really has to go. Just kidding. Whenever a kid in class says they have to go to the bathroom, it literally just means they want to go and play Clash Royale on their phone for 5 minutes. So this, I mean, same with me, let's be real. So yeah, anyways, Alex raises his hand to go to the quote-unquote bathroom. The teacher looks at him with the look of like, bro, I know you're not going to the bathroom. Like, don't think you're, like, you can go, but don't think you're pulling a fast one on me, dude. Like, we both know what's going on here. Yeah, so anyways, right, Alex is like, okay, word. He gets up and he walks over to the bathroom. So he walks into the boys' bathroom, and I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but the boys' bathroom is always a little bit of a war zone. Like, Alex would never seriously go to the bathroom unless he desperately needed to go in the boys' bathroom at his school. Like, if he could hold it, he would hold it. Even if it was uncomfortable, he would hold it. The only time he would actually legitimately go to the bathroom, and I mean taking like going pee is fine in the boys' bathroom at school. It's a little dangerous, but if you go number 2 in the boys' public bathroom at your school, you're basically you're asking for whatever's going to happen to you, dude. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyways, though, so he goes in, sits down in one of the stalls. That doesn't actually do anything. He whips out his phone and plays Clash Royale. But that's when he hears a splashing noise next to him. And he's just like, what? Like, dude, what? So anyways, he kind of like is not trying to get into it because, look, man, if someone's making a scene, if someone's doing something ridiculous in the stall next to me, the last thing I want to do is get involved. Like, literally the last thing I want to do is get involved in that nonsense. Like, if you want to be ridiculous, by all means, be ridiculous. But please, be ridiculous by yourself, my brother. Please, not with me. Not with me. No. I'm just trying to go to the bathroom, or more likely just go on my phone for like a couple minutes. Just, you know, escape the classroom for a second. Whatever nonsense you're up to, it's all you, bro. It's all you. Anyways, so yeah, sure enough, Alex is like, okay, maybe I should try and maybe I should go back to the classroom, which is really sad because he was only in there for a couple minutes. He was only able to waste a few minutes of his classroom time playing Clash Royale. Very sad. Anyways, though, so he gets up and he's like, okay, let me go wash my hands. So he goes up to the sink, washes his hands, even though he didn't even do anything. I think it's really just so no one thinks he just got up and didn't wash his hands. And that's when he hears like the Skibbity Bop theme song or whatever being played, like, or not played. It's like the kid going like Skibbity Bop Bop. I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna give you guys an opportunity to clip that or something. I'm not even giving you the opportunity. So at this point, he recognizes the voice and he realizes that it's Ben in the stall next to him. Yeah, so he's like a little bit curious, but also he just doesn't want to know what on earth is going on, because all he knows is he hears like the Skibidi Toilet theme song, whatever, being like sung by that kid, and then immense splashing noises. Like, bro, I'm not going in there. I don't care how much you pay me, dude. I am not setting foot in there. That's jokes, bro. That's not happening. There is no way that is transpiring. Nope. I'm good, bro. I'm literally so good right now. Anyways, so yeah, the subscriber is like, he's washing his hands and he's really just trying to get back to the classroom at this point. And that's when the stall bursts open. So the stall he was next to was the one where Ben was in doing whatever nonsense he was in. And he didn't really know. But at this point, the stall opens up and you can very clearly see that Ben is like submerged in the freaking toilet, bro. Like, I actually, like, the subscriber has no idea how he got so deep in like the toilet. Okay, he didn't like go all the way down. He's not actually just a floating head in there. That's physically impossible. But he's got his like foot jammed in there, whatever. And the splashing noise is there's like water overflowing because he's flooded. He's like clogged it in such a weird way that it's like broken the toilet. And this Ben kid is just like singing the freaking Skippy Bob whatever theme song. And so at this point, Alex is like, dude, what? So Alex is kind of on the verge of like, okay, do I say something or do I just leave? And what happens, like, if someone sees me leave from here? Like, is it my moral responsibility to, I don't know, do something here? Like, is it actually, like, my responsibility to come in and do something? Because, I mean, something needs to be done. This kid's obviously, like, insane or whatever. And he just, throughout this whole thought process, he just hears, like, this could be whatever, right? Like, I'm not even going to do it, right? I'm sure you've heard it a bajillion times. I'm good too, man. And he's like, Ben, what are you doing? And Ben's like, I'm Skippy Toilet. And then he goes back to like splashing in there. And this whole time, like, so much water is pouring out. So Alex is like, dude, like, do you not see how much water is pouring out of there? Do you not think like something's wrong? Spoiler, something was wrong. Yeah, so Alex is like, okay, dude, like, I think I just need to go at this point. Because, like, okay, what is Alex going to do? Like, this kid is going to do whatever he's going to do either way. So Alex is like, hey, man, I just want to make it clear, I don't think you should be doing that. But I'm also going to go. Because Alex is like, all right, I got to put my 2 cents in so I feel good. But also, yeah, that's crazy if you think I'm going to be here when he destroys whatever, right? So at this point, Alex gets up and he just hears a ton of splashing, a ton of whatever. And it just like the kid screaming, I'm Skippy Toilet. So he's like, okay, I'm good. I'm just going to park my butt back in class. You know, when I was in class a second ago, the one thing I wanted was to be in the men's bathroom on my phone playing Clash Royale. But you know what? Given perspective in this new turn of events, there's nothing more than I want to be in Miss Johnson's math class right now. All I want to know is how to do geometry right now. So I'm actually going to get up and go back to my class. You know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. So anyways, he gets up, walks back to his class, he sits down, and he doesn't think much more of it. He's like, okay, whatever, like, it's fine. And that's when he hears Miss Johnson, like, you know, she's talking, whatever, and her phone rings. And I think she had, like, normally her phone on silence, but I think she had, like, a few contacts where it actually go through. So, because you can kind of customize your silent mode, like you can have priority contacts on like different do not disturbs or whatever. But she had like her kids or her husband and probably also some school officials. So she picks up the phone and spoiler, it's a school official. And she's like, what? She's like, okay. And she's like, all right, class, we have a little bit of an interruption. I'm told that there is some severe flooding going on in the school and that we should make our way outside. So she's like, yeah, let's... it's not a fire drill, but let's act like it's fire drill. So get up, okay, single file lines. At this point, everyone's kind of looking at each other like, what? What did she say? Huh? Yeah, so everyone's pretty confused, and the only person who is less confused, or the least confused person in that classroom, is Alex. Because he's like, oh no. Because look, Alex knew that, you know, probably this Skibidi Bob Ben kid or whatever was going to have, he was probably going to cause some, like, issues with the toilet. And he's like, okay, worst case scenario, he, like, I don't know, permanently messes up that toilet so bad that it has to have, like, professional help. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they have to have someone come in and actually fix it or something. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment toilet down below in the comment section. If you're listening on YouTube, obviously drop a like right now to claim your free nothing. Subscribe and notifications on. And by the way, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you rated the podcast 5 stars and you followed it with notifications on. And also, there's probably a poll down below. Please answer it. And if you're listening on YouTube, I also post these on Spotify and vice versa. Anyways. So, yeah, he was probably like, okay, this kid, Ben, is definitely going to mess up the toilet by doing all that. But he was like, what? Flooding? So, anyways, walks in a single file line. The whole math class walks out there. And they're all kind of waiting out there. And so Ben was not in his class, but the thing is, for some reason, the subscriber actually knew which class Ben was in at this time. It wasn't like the biggest school ever, so he kind of knew where people were at. And like, even he's like, it's kind of random that he knew, but he did know. So he looked over at the line, I think it was like Ms. Johnson's English class, let's say, and Ben was not there. So eventually, like, a fire truck comes, and because that's like your first responder, I guess, whatever, to come in to see what's up. And then eventually, like, they're told, okay, like, kids, like, this is really weird, but we're calling your parents. We're going to host recess outside until they come. You guys can technically stay here till the end of the day, but we're also letting your parents know that if they can come pick you up early, that would be ideal. So anyways, right, the subscriber, Alex's mom, comes and picks him up, and she's not happy. She's like, oh my God, like, what did you do? And Alex is like, dude, no, for real, I didn't do anything, I swear. So anyways, it comes out a couple days later that basically the story, what happened, was that, like, freaking the Skibidi kid was in there, be like, I'm Skibidi Toilet, man, and just destroyed the toilet, and was in there, like, bouncing around, singing his song so much that he broke the bowl of the toilet, causing, like, the bottom, like, the whole thing to shatter. It, like, starts spraying water everywhere, and he's like, uh-oh. And as he runs out, like, this, like, some employee or something, or some teacher catches him running out, and he's like, what's going on? And that's when, like, the two kids, like, and then, the teacher opens the door, sees that, like, crazy explosion, flooding thing, whatever. He's like, oh my God. So anyways, he pulls the kid aside, and he also calls up saying, like, there's a flood thing, whatever. Another teacher comes down. They're like, oh, wow, because it's actually spreading pretty fast. And yeah, so the school actually sustained a ton of water damage. There was a ton of internal piping issues because that, like, the damage went pretty deep. Yeah, so yeah, the kid got, in trouble. I think, I don't know. I think they kind of realized that he had no idea what he was doing. But, he also destroyed, like, a lot of the school. So he got suspended for a couple days, and he had to learn. He actually had, like, the plumber came in, and he was, like, paid to come in, like, for one more day to, like, explain how plumbing works to this kid or something as part of his punishment. I don't know. I think the principal just had to get creative because he's like, okay, this kid obviously didn't know what he was doing, but I can't just let him off the hook, and, like, just suspending him for a couple days kind of doesn't feel like enough for some reason. So, yeah, eventually they have Zoom class for a couple days, or Google Meets, or I don't even know, whatever he used, right? Then they came back, and when the subscriber Alex came back to the school, like, it's funny, like, they had, like, a temporary, like, boys' bathroom, whatever. They opened up, like, the faculty bathroom for the boys' bathroom. The faculty were not happy about that. Eventually, the boys' bathroom came back, but there was, like, a ton of boarding up for a really, really long time. And moral of the story is don't become Skibidi Toilet in your bathroom. What? Dude, I don't know. I just don't do what this kid did, and you should be pretty okay. Yeah, leave a like, bye. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a story time of a Karen who calls the bride fat. That is something you should never do at anyone's wedding ever, but hey man, what can you expect from a Karen? This is a really crazy story, and the Karen actually gets the karma she's deserved, so you'll enjoy it too. Sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, leave a like for your free nothing, and let's jump right into it. So we're gonna call this subscriber who submitted today's story Mark. So anyways, Mark, was 15 years old at the time. And so this is actually a very complicated story. I'll try and set it out straight for you. Mark's mom has a sister, so that's going to be Mark's aunt. Mark's aunt was getting married. Mark's had another mom, Mark's mom had another sister who we're going to call the Karen. So Mark has two aunts, the two sisters of his mom. One aunt is getting married and the other aunt is a Karen. So here's the thing. all three of the girls, all three sisters, so Mark's mom, the Karen, and the aunt, that's how we're going to call them, right? They've all been very competitive all their lives. And the thing is, right, there was a big thing about who was going to get married first. And obviously, well, not obviously, but Mark's mom was the one who ended up getting married first. She got married in college or right after college, right? So she was probably like 20 something, very young 20s, and she was the first one married. However, right, so, both the aunt and the Karen were like happy for her. However, the Karen's sister was a bit less happy because she was jealous that she got married before she did, but whatever, right? However, the Karen really didn't want to be married last. She did not want to be the last one married. And so when she got the news that the aunt was getting married, apparently the Karen was furious. And here's the thing. The Karen didn't even try and hide this. One might be thinking, okay, well, you can have some internalized feelings of maybe I wish I was getting married and some kind of stress and anxiety. That is totally fair. But the thing is, you got to internalize that because that's your sister and she's getting married. You can't start freaking out on her just because she's getting married. However, yeah, sure enough, the Karen starts freaking out on the sister for getting married. And yeah, so literally what happens is on the phone, the aunt calls up the Karen to kind of like break the good news. But instead of like breaking the good news, the Karen freaks out. So instead of doing the rational thing and just calling and being like, oh, okay, well, I'm happy for you, right? You always say that. Even if internally you're having a lot of conflict because of your own personal issues, you always got to say, I'm happy for you. Someone's getting married and that's also your sister. But yeah, apparently the Karen like went off basically just being like, you don't deserve it. I deserve, like being straight up about how like salty and angry she is. And here's the thing. She has the right to be upset. Like, it's a stressful thing to not get married, especially if you put that much pressure on yourself. However, you have the right to say whatever, but you can't be lashing out because someone's getting married. Like, and the thing is, too, the aunt was completely taken off guard. This was not the reaction she expected. I think the aunt was aware that the Karen had a lot of pressure on herself to get married at a certain point. However, the aunt did not believe for a second that the Karen was going to have this kind of reaction. What I'm trying to really just like drill down is the point that this came out of left field and this was really unexpected. Yeah, so there was a whole debacle. There was a whole thing. And basically, the aunt and the subscriber, Mark's mom, we're calling the subscriber Mark, by the way, just in case I said something else. That's what I wrote down. Anyways, Mark's mom and the aunt kind of got on the phone together, and they had a whole discussion or whatever because, they were trying to figure out, okay, like this reaction was so out of pocket, like this was super not cool. How do we go about this? So at the end of the discussion, Mark's mom and the aunt decided, okay, well, we're still going to invite her to the wedding. She may not accept it. I mean, who even knows, bro? Like, at this point, who even knows? But, we have to extend the invitation. I mean, this was kind of just a gut reaction. She's hurting. She's going through, they were, getting up there in age, respectfully, right? And it's harder to get married the older you are, especially as a woman, just how things are, right? Maybe it's not fair, maybe it is, who knows? It's just kind of how things are, at least in the United States. So there's probably a lot of pressure, and Mark's mom's aware of this, so she's like, okay, you know what, maybe we should just extend the invitation, hope for an apology, but just best case scenario, or at a minimum, she'll be there on your wedding night and you won't have any regrets in that regard. So yeah, sure enough, the invitation was extended and, the Karen was very kind of waited on responding. Like, you were supposed to RSVP to the wedding invitations and you got them 8 months in advance because they're a couple days, right? It's kind of a thing. It's over the summer. They want to make sure that you have enough time that you don't schedule something during the day of the wedding, because if you tell people 2 weeks before the wedding, hey guys, come to my wedding, they might have something planned, and a lot of people probably have planned out that far. So people were kind of expected to RSVP kind of soon. It wasn't like you had to RSVP or respond right away, but the Karen literally waited until 2 weeks before the wedding to be like, yes, I'm coming. That completely messed everything up because they already had some extras, extra food, extra seats or whatever, just for plus minus whatever. And they flights, expect some people not to make their flights so they might overbook. They kind of did the opposite. They expected, okay, a few people are going to bring plus ones or plus twos that we just simply didn't expect. So we should, have a few more seats, have a bit more food than we might expect or whatever, right? But yeah, they had to redo a lot of stuff last minute because the Karen was like dragging her feet on giving the RSVP. Anyways, so let's get to the day of the actual wedding. Yeah, so the day comes around and, I don't know, Mark's pretty excited. He's never been to a wedding before. When I was a kid, I've been to like a couple weddings, but Mark had never been to a wedding before. So this was the first time and, he thought it was pretty cool. Mark had a pretty good relationship with his aunt who was getting married. And Mark was kind of aware from like little bits of conversations he overheard, from just a little bit of context clues, knew that, this aunt had been through a lot of just like tough relationships that just didn't work out. And the aunt was, looking for a lifelong partner. I mean, that's something a lot of people want, man. So, Mark was pretty excited that it all was working out for her. Not all marriages stick together. A lot of them don't, but at least it's a step in the right direction. The thing is, though, Mark was not as close with the Karen because the Karen out of the three sisters was by far the most bitter and resentful. And a lot of that was why she was single, if we're all being honest. So the Karen arrives late to the pre-ceremony. So there was like a ceremony before the wedding, but sure enough, the Karen arrives late to that as well, which I mean, you can't say that you didn't see that coming if we're being real. I mean, the Karen's already trying to like prove why, she doesn't care, all this kind of stuff, right? Of course, she's going to be late to the pre-ceremony, and not so late that she couldn't be there and be annoying, just late enough that she made a point that she was late, but not late enough to the point where she would actually miss out on being able to ruin as much as she possibly could. So anyways, they're all sitting at the pre-dinner, which is the dinner that you have before the official wedding ceremony the next day. So they're all sitting there, they're all having a good time, except for the Karen. And I don't know if you guys know that one person, but do you guys know that one person who just sucks the life out of a room? They just like genuinely suck all of the happiness and entertainment and good vibes and all that stuff out of the room. Like they're like energy vampires. Like, I don't know how they do it, man, but they do it. And especially people when they're in a bad mood. I know people personally that when they're in a good mood, they can be the life of the party, but when they're in a bad mood, they just make everyone feel bad. Like, they don't have to speak any words, they don't have to utter anything, and they have brought the mood down like by like 2 points out of 10, bro. Yeah, so that was kind of the vibe was getting picked up, and the aunt and her soon-to-be husband, I guess, the soon-to-be husband, the fiance, right? They were sitting at the end of the table, and they purposely put the Karen at the other end of the table. And the Karen was starting to get upset about that. And the Karen start muttering stuff like, wow, I can't believe I wasn't put next to my sister. She's my own flesh and blood, all that kind of stuff. And, I think the Karen actually went up to either Mark's mom or the aunt about this, because I think one of the two responded, well, you got your RSVP so late, we didn't even think you were coming. We barely were able to make room for you last minute. And I think that Karen's like, you should have always had a spot reserved for me. You're my sister, whatever, which I mean, like, I guess, but also, dude, you had 8 months to RSVP and you RSVP for something that takes like months and months to plan and schedule 2 weeks before? Are you serious? And you expect to get the same treatment as everyone else? I get it. You're family. And, in all fairness, family members at a wedding will probably get better treatment than, your fourth grade teacher that you just happen to stay in touch with. I understand that as a fact. However, look, you blew up on this person and you've not apologized. Oh, by the way, this Karen has not apologized yet. I want to make that very clear. So, the pre-dinner is a little bit of a mess, and simply because of the Karen. Because, like, some people at the end of the table that are, not really, like, maybe extended family members or friends, or, because, like, a lot of the close families at the other end of the table. The thing is, though, Mark is at kind of like the kids section, which is at a certain side of the table, and the kids section is near the Karen, so Mark gets to hear all this stuff firsthand. And Mark hears, just the Karen just bringing stuff up, just trying to take people down, bro. Like, the Karen is legitimately just trying to make people's day bad. Yeah, but anyways, things got really bad on the actual day of the wedding. That's when things really started to get bad, because I think, here's the thing. I think the Karen was kind of like, she was super, remember, the Karen was super jealous, and I have a shred of sympathy, a shred, right? Because I can understand it's a difficult position to be in. However, I really do draw the line in lashing out on other people because look, it happens. However, you got to be, look, you can experience this range of emotions, but you also got to realize the damage you do to other people, you can't blame on stuff happening to you. You really can't at a certain point. And what the Karen is going to do next is really bad. It is partly what I said in the title of the video, but so much more, so make sure to stick around. And if you made it this far into the video, comment Karen down below in the comment section. That'll be the secret word of the day. And while you're in the comment section, check out the pinned comment as there's a link to a Spotify account in which I upload all these stories as podcasts. If you listen on there, it actually does help me out as well as links to 2 other channels that I'll be uploading daily on, so subscribe to those to help me out. Anyways, though, let's get back to the story. So the next day is the actual day of the wedding. And I think that Karen had not fully kind of like, she wasn't at full peak jealousy and rage because it wasn't actually the wedding. But when the wedding officially came around on that day, the Karen was mad. Big mad. The Karen is just something in the air of like her sister getting married, happiness, nice things, everything that the Karen hates, right? So she was just extra angsty and angry today. She was like an angsty teen, bro. She was upset. She was not having it. And so anyways, let's just skip to the wedding ceremony. Because the Karen was kind of like she was not AFK, she was MIA for a while, right? She was just kind of brooding, sticking to herself, and no one really knew where she was. But so let's just skip ahead to the actual wedding ceremony. So skipping ahead to the actual wedding ceremony, let's just get, okay, so everyone's in the pews, right? Everyone's in the pews. They're waiting for the bride and groom to come out. And so eventually the bride and groom come out, the bride walks down, or the groom walks down, and the bride's walked down by her father. The whole ceremony, it's very nice, or at least Mark says, good vibes in the air, good energy, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so, oh man, this is almost cringe for me to tell. Like, it's such an uncomfortable story and so awkward, but I just had to tell it because it's a really good story too. But man, leave a like on the video. 1 like equals 1 prayer for me, or I'm going to pass away from the cringe. I'm not joking. So anyways, yeah, sure enough, the Karen eventually makes herself known. So there's like a couple people up there that are going to say some stuff. So I don't know if this is true for all weddings, but, the bride and groom say their vows, and I think a lot of times people speak at, like, the after party or whatever. They don't actually speak during the wedding ceremony. But I guess the bride and groom just wanted, like, a few of their close friends to say a few words during the ceremony itself. I mean, it's your wedding. You can really do what you want. So there's like 5 people in line. But soon enough, there were 6 people in line because the Karen invites herself upstage and enters the line. So at this point, like, the aunt looks at not the bride. The aunt looks at the groom looks back at his wife, or soon-to-be wife, aka the aunt. They're kind of looking at each other because they know that what is about to come is not going to be good. They did not schedule the Karen to be one of the 5 speakers. She was like the 6th speaker, aka the wild card. And the wild card who had a history of not being very nice. Well, I mean, at the beginning of the story, when I told you that the Karen was screaming at, the aunt, being like, it should have been me. It should have been me. Like, this can't be good. But a part of the aunt was thinking to herself, okay, maybe the Karen is going to apologize or try and, like, make up for being such a, like, the worst person ever, right? Try and make up for it by giving a really nice speech. Which, like, I get being hopeful, but also, Karens are going to be Karens, bro. It's in their DNA. It's how they work. Like, they're not going to say anything nice. Trust me. So sure enough, right? Eventually, so people start saying some stuff. They're told to keep it kind of limited so the ceremony doesn't go on and on and on and on and on. Like, it's a long day anyways, right? They want to get to the marriage part. They're ready to start their life. So people, the groom's best friend in high school, whatever, says a few words like, oh, should have seen this guy back in high school. He was such a dork. Haha. So crazy. I used to hang out with him. Stuff like that. Whatever. But eventually it comes up to the Karen. So yeah, the Karen gets up there, goes to the microphone, And I think a lot of people weren't actually aware of the Karen situation. They might have known that the Karen, aka the third sister, was a little bit weird at dinner the night before, but I don't think they realized the extent to which the following was going to be. What I'm trying to say is the audience was not prepared for what they were about to be hit with. The pile of bricks, the freight train, whatever you want to call it, that was about to slam through this wedding, they were not prepared for. So anyways, the Karen gets up there and looks at the groom and is like, you. You already know it's starting off good, bro. She starts off, looks at the groom and says, you. She's like, you. Of course you would. Dude, this is actually, I'm cringing, bro. This is going to be so hard for me to say because I just feel so foul saying it, even though I'm just saying what someone else said in a story. Like, I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm going to choke my way through it. I'm just going to say it. She's like, how do you get to this point, bro? I know, I'm sorry. Don't skip ahead. How do you get to this point? But anyways, she says, you chose to marry this, oh my God, this fat hog over me. Like she should have been the sister that was married last. Whole audience gasps. Dude, how do you say this, bro? How do you say this at your own sister's wedding? I understand not being happy with where you are in life. That happens. We've all been there. But this is crazy. And you're not only just saying it like to her, you're saying it in front of everyone at her wedding ceremony. You just called her a fat hog in front of her. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yeah. that's my live reaction. Yeah. ... I think that Karen goes on to say, begin to say another thing. But that's when, I don't know, groom's like a cool guy and he's not standing for any of this slander, right? So the groom goes over and quickly just takes the microphone out of her hand. And it's like at this point, sorry, what's his name? Mark, the subscriber. He doesn't hear what the groom says because it's no longer mic'd up, right? But very clearly, he can see the groom is pointing towards the stairs and towards the exit. And the Karen folds her arm and shakes her head no and starts yelling. And Mark can faintly hear her be yelling about how he should have married her or whatever. So a complete plot twist right now, by the way. Married her instead of there's layers to this stuff, dude. Because there's layers to this stuff, bro. She didn't just call, her sister a fat hog, which is an insane thing to say. I can't stress how much of an insane thing that is to say, especially to anyone. Should never say that to anyone. Also saying that on your wedding day. Also to your sister. Layers, right? But there's even more layers. This is like a fourth dimensional onion. That's how many layers there are to this thing. Because she's also saying, you should have married me. What do you mean by that? Not only you should not have married my sister, and maybe the Karen, by the way, was saying you should have married me metaphorically to men. Men should have married her before the sister, which is a pretty crazy statement to say anyways. Anyone as bitter and angry as you probably is not going to attract anyone, unless you attract someone as bitter and angry as yourself, right? But also just to say it so directly to him, there's a chance that maybe she was trying to slide in with her sister's soon-to-be husband. That's a crazy enough statement already. But hey, man, it's the Karen for you. So yeah, sure enough, the Karen kind of folds her arms when the groom says, points at the stairs and basically tells her, you got to get out of here, dude. You are not welcome right now. Yeah, so the Karen folds her arm. And that's when so this is when the groom's best friend basically gets up and looks at the Karen. Unfortunately, we don't know the exact words that he says because Mark was not close enough, but just assume they were super sick. Just assume it was a movie hero ending or whatever, where the hero says something really sick to the bad guy before destroying the bad guy, right? Because that's when the big guy starts just walking towards the Karen. And she gets kind of intimidated, starts walking back, and she starts screaming or whatever. And that's when the big guy, the friend of the groom, grabs her by the back of the shirt very gently. It's not pushing her around or anything, but slowly starts pulling her out. And the Karen is just screaming, and she's screaming loud enough that now Mark can hear that she's saying it should have been me. It should have been me. Why did you marry her? She's a hog. Just going hard on that too, which is such a crazy thing to say. But she's it should have been me. And then the door closes behind her, right? And so everyone's kind of really quiet at this point. Because what are you going to say? This is such an awkward thing to be uttered, right? This is so crazy. So sure enough, eventually the person who's running the whole ceremony, like I think it's the priest or whatever, is pretty confused. He's like, okay, well, that was unexpected. But the priest kind of just goes back in the action. Like, all right, let's hear the vows. So the aunt is a little shaken up. I think she was supposed to go first. But then I think the groom's like, all right, let me take it from here. The groom says his vows. I think the aunt was kind of teared up by how crazy of like a thing that was said to her. But then she starts like tearing up because of what the groom says. She chokes through hers, but like the choking is definitely because of the tears of what he said, less so because of what her sister said. Maybe a combination of both. But definitely the whole mood has turned back to a positive mood, right? It's turned back to something positive. And yep, so they end up and then they kiss at the very end. And at the recital dinner, or not the recital, the final dinner, they're all sitting around and the Karen tries to come to the dinner. But the security were told specifically that she was not allowed entry. So it was pretty sweet. It was pretty nice, Mark says, to see the Karen get denied.
Everyone loves
Little kids think that they deserve everything, bro. If you have a girlfriend, no. Spoiled kid, that is his girlfriend now. And in today's story, the spoiled kid wants the subscriber's girlfriend so bad that he breaks into his house to demand it. Yeah, so strap in for this one. This is a ridiculous and crazy story that I know you'll enjoy. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's simply jump right into it. So we're going to call this, sorry, I'm not going to cut that out, by the way. We're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Ty. So anyways, Ty had this girlfriend, and they were in like 7th grade or something, so Ty had just gotten a girlfriend. This was his first girlfriend ever, and that's always a very magical experience. Even if the only thing you do is hold hands briefly and then stop holding hands because you realize holding hands isn't that great when you both have sweaty palms, it's still a magical experience, right? And in Ty's class, there was a spoiled kid. We're just going to call him the spoiled kid. The spoiled kid was not only spoiled because, you know, he had a lot of money at his disposal and he would spend it on anything. He always came in with like, oh guys, look at my new Gucci brick or Supreme brick or whatever. And like, I don't know. It was always like kind of annoying because it was very obvious that his parents were just kind of like bending to all of his wills and his demands or whatever. But this kid also kind of believed that he was also Albert Einstein in his intellect, that he was Usain Bolt in his athletic abilities, and that he was, I don't know, Ryan Gosling in his attractive looks, right? He thought he was genuinely like the greatest, smartest, most intelligent man on planet Earth. And for that reason, he believed that he genuinely deserved everything and everyone and anything that he could ever imagine or want. So one day, Ty was with his girlfriend at recess, or free period or whatever he had in 7th grade, right? He was chilling with her, and they would do this because, you know, since they're in 7th grade, they didn't live in the same neighborhood, but they went to the same school. They would sometimes spend time on the weekends, but they always made it a thing to spend time during the free period that they both had off. So the spoiled kid noticed this. And here's the thing. If the spoiled kid sees something, if the spoiled kid doesn't get what the spoiled kid wants, he's going to be big mad. So the spoiled kid saw something that he didn't have, because the spoiled kid didn't have a girlfriend. He didn't have a girlfriend. I think he had one a while ago, but cheated on her like immediately because he's like, oh, I should have all the women ever because I'm the greatest, bestest ever, right? So he saw this and he was thinking, and he just like, for some reason was like, I want that girl. And I think I'm sure she was great or whatever, but I think the only reason why, and we're going to call Ty's girlfriend, we're going to call her Caroline, right? So I think the only reason why, or at least Ty thinks the only reason why the spoiled kid really wanted Caroline specifically is because that was Ty's girlfriend. Like, I think that is the reason why specifically. Yeah, so they're sitting together. Ty and his girlfriend are just sitting, and they see the spoiled kid walk up to them. And it's not like Ty and the spoiled kid are friends where it would be normal for him to just go up to him randomly out of the blue. This was really weird. Like, the spoiled kid and Ty were not friends, bro. Like, they were just not close. So it was just really weird to see the spoiled kid walking up to him. And Ty was kind of like, yeah, what's up, bro? And the spoiled kid's like, hey, I'm not talking to you, buddy. Looking at Ty, and Ty was like, what? Like, you're coming up looking at me. Like, what do you mean you're not talking to me? And the spoiled kid immediately turns to Caroline and is like, what's good, darling? Like, how we doing today? And Caroline's just like, ew, what? She's like, aha, good. And spoiled kid's like, yeah, it's probably good because you're talking to me right now. And Caroline's like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the frick, bro? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And she's like, okay. And the spoiled kid doesn't get the kind of like the very obvious social cues that she is not into him even in the slightest. So he's like, so I was just thinking maybe you and I together going out, nice movie, nice car, nice, I don't know, nice food, like just you and I, and maybe afterwards you can come back to my place. Caroline's, I think I'm good. He's like, what do you mean? Babe, like, don't leave me, babe. Like, I got this. Like, we got this. Just stay with me, babe. Stay. And she's like, bro, like, I'm in a, like, this, like, I'm literally sitting next to my boyfriend right now. And the spoiled kid is like, dude, just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Caroline, have you ever watched soccer before? Do you think the goalies always stop the goals? No, they don't only score when there's no goalie in there. Like, he's just a goalie. And I bet he's bad at being a goalie. And Caroline's like, well, what are you trying to imply? And the spoiled kid's like, you could do better. And by better, I mean me. And she's like, no, sorry, goodbye. So the spoiled kid's like, you're making a big mistake. You'll regret this. Caroline, we are meant to be. We're meant to be. And they walk away, right? And, Ty turns to Caroline. He's like, dude, like, I'm sorry. And she's like, you didn't do anything. Like, you're good. And he's like, I'm just sorry that happened to you. Like, damn. So that day was actually a Friday. And this was a special day for them because Caroline was actually going to go over to Ty's house. And it used to be that they would meet at like their mall or go out to the movies. They had never been to each other's houses. So since they've been in a relationship for a while and the parents were kind of chill about it, like they were like, we're not going to leave you two alone, right? Like, nah, hell nah, bro. But we're fine if we're at home. Like, you can come over. So it's a pretty big deal. And so today, instead of both of them walking in their separate directions to their separate houses and like the two different sides of the neighborhood, right? Or the two different neighborhoods, Caroline was going to walk back with Ty. So they had completely forgotten about it at this point. They had completely forgotten about the fact that the spoiled kid had done that kind of ridiculous charade type thing earlier in the day. They had completely forgotten about that. So it was a little weird when Ty noticed that the spoiled kid was on his bike. It was was on the other side of the road, pedaling super slowly. Because I'm sure you guys know bikes go faster normally than a person walking. So if you see someone biking next to you, normally they'll go right by you. Right? But this kid was like staying behind them. It was really weird. So the thing is, at the moment, Ty did not make the one-to-one correlation that, it's probably the spoiled kid is following me. Because why would the spoiled kid follow him? I think Ty looked back and was like, oh, look, to Caroline, oh, look, that's the kid who was so weird to you today. And she was like, oh, yeah, whatever, right? But they didn't really make the correlation that this kid was legitimately following them home. So, yeah, they keep going, and they watch as the spoiled kid keeps basically following them on his bike. And Ty is turns to Caroline and is like, I've never seen him come this route. He normally goes in your direction, because I think the spoiled kid lived in the same neighborhood as Caroline. Caroline's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure his mom and my mom know about each other, are friendly because we go to some same group or club or something because we're in the same neighborhood. So this was really weird. And Ty's like, okay, whatever. He's probably just going out for I don't know, just going out for a drive, not a drive, but a bike ride. It's after school. It's a Friday. Probably doesn't have a lot of friends because he's a little insufferable. Whatever, right? So they don't think much of it. So eventually, Ty gets to his house. And the spoiled kid, instead of stopping and following Ty in, he drives by or he bikes by. So at this point, Ty's like, okay, we're in the clear. He's not following us or anything. This is where Ty would be wrong. Yeah, so they eventually go inside, and the spoiled kid has biked away, but what actually happened was the spoiled kid biked around the corner, docked his bike, and was going to be approaching Ty's house. But Ty and his girlfriend Caroline didn't realize this. They just thought, oh, well, he must have biked away. So they go inside, and, Ty's mom is there. She's like, hey, guys, so I got to run real quick. Just stay here. Don't go anywhere. Just stay here, watch some television. I'll be back. Ty's mom then goes out to go errand shopping or something. So now Ty and his girlfriend are sitting on the couch watching television. Nothing sus happens. None of that. They're good. They're good little kids. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, staying 6 feet apart from each other. Maybe they're little, they hold hands, guys. Oh my God, that's like 20th base. Oh my God, they're holding hands. No, but they're just chilling. They're watching TV. They just genuinely enjoy each other's company. If anything, like if you're in a relationship with someone, you should genuinely enjoy their company. And they do. So it's a nice relationship, right? But they hear, like, they're sitting there and they're watching a television show. And that's when they hear a kaplunk. They're like, what? Like, what was that noise? It wasn't a normal noise. It was like something hit the side of the house. So at first, like, I don't know. Like, Ty's like, okay, maybe like a branch from a tree fell and like boinked our house or something. But it didn't sound like that. So Ty turns to Caroline and is like, did you hear that? And she's like, yeah, like I didn't think much of it, but I heard that. So Ty's like, okay. He goes up, walks outside the window, walks up to the window, looks outside, and he doesn't see any very obvious bits of debris. So he's like, okay, whatever, who cares? What actually happened was the spoiled kid was sneaking around the house and accidentally tripped and fell into the side of the house and bonked into it, and then quickly ran away to a different side of the house. But the spoiled kid, Ty didn't know this, but the spoiled kid was tiptoeing around outside his house as they were sitting there. The spoiled kid was trying to find a sneaky way to break into Ty's house. Yeah, so anyways, they're just kind of sitting there. They're enjoying their program, whatever they're watching. And that's when they hear the back door open. But I don't know if you guys do you know the difference when like someone opens the door normally and it just kind of swings open, makes a little bit of a creak, but also when someone opens the door slowly and then it accidentally makes a really elongated creaking noise. This was like what sounded like someone was trying to like very quietly open the door, and because they were opening it so slowly, it made a really loud creak noise. So Ty's like, oh, like I guess my mom's home. So he's like, hey mom, and he yells that, and there's no response. So that's when Caroline and Ty are like, okay, this is really weird. Because like, I mean, if your parent is home and you yell, hey mom, I'd assume that they would say something back. They wouldn't just like sneak around. So they're a little bit sussed out right now. They're like, okay, this is a little weird. This is a little strange, I'm not gonna lie. And so they're just kind of like chilling there. They're sitting there. And Ty just turns to Caroline and is like, that's weird, right? And so they get up and they're like, okay, let's see what that was. And they walk into the back of the house. And this is when things get really weird. They go to the back of the house and the spoiled kid must have like panicked that it made that noise because he didn't close the door. The back door was literally just open. And Ty's like, oh, maybe the wind opened it? Wind? Wind is the secret word of the day. So if you made it this far into the video, comment wind down below. And also, while you're in the comment section commenting wind, check the pinned comment, as the first link is to my Spotify page, which you can listen to these stories. And the other two links in the pinned comment are my two other channels. Please go ahead and subscribe to them. I think you will enjoy the content on there. And let's get right back to it. Anyways, so the thing was, it wasn't windy. It was a perfect day outside. Not a cloud in the sky, not a breeze in the air, nice weather, right? So they're starting to realize, no, this was open manually. So at first they think, okay, maybe like a bear got to the house or some animal that they got to be worried about. So Caroline and Ty are like very quietly sneaking around the house, trying to figure out what kind of animal broke in. Little did they know that no animal, in fact, broke in. Just a spoiled kid broke in. So they're walking around the house all quietly, kind of tiptoeing around, trying not to make too much noise. And that's when they decide they're going to go back into the TV room, be a little bit more cautious. But when they walk in the TV room, the spoiled kid is sitting on the couch. And like Ty's like, what are you doing here? And the spoiled kid jumps. He's like, oh, geez, you scared me, bro. And Ty's like, I scared you? Well, what are you doing in my house? And spoiled kid's like, oh yeah, about that. He's like, I have come to convince Caroline that she's made a terrible mistake. And Ty's like, what? And Caroline's like, huh? Yeah, everyone at this point is just very, very confused on what even is going on right now. So the spoiled kid's like, yeah, okay, I may be broken to your house. I may or maybe not broken to your house, right? Maybe. And Ty's like, no, you definitely did, dude. He's like, because I'm like, I didn't let you in and I didn't tell you could come. You definitely broke into my house. And the spoiled kid's like, well, that's just a little detail, dude. Because it won't even like matter when Caroline and I are married, looking back, telling our kids on how daddy and mommy met. Daddy met by breaking into his worst enemy's house and stealing mommy away from the evil dragon that was hiding her. And Ty's like, dude, what are you saying right now? And Caroline is very obviously uncomfortable because she does not agree with the spoiled kid that they are meant to be or something weird. So the spoiled kid is like, gets on both knees and is like, Caroline, can't you see the truth? Can't you see the truth? And Caroline's like, what? And he's like, can't you see the truth, Caroline? You and I, we're meant to be. We're meant to be. You and I are so good together. And Ty's like, okay, whoa, dude. You can't stay here. And he's like, what do you mean I can't stay here? I can stay here if I want to, bro. And Ben's like, no, like, I mean, you can't stay here because you actually can't stay here. Like, you can't stay in this house. Like, you're not invited. I don't know you. And I don't know you. Second, you broke into my house. Third, you're trying to steal away my girlfriend unsuccessfully, dude. And the spoiled kid's like, well, actually, let's see what the lady says. I don't think she thinks this as unsuccessfully as you do, dude. And Caroline's like, nope, this is never turned into nothing on planet Earth has ever turned me off more than this right now. The spoiled kid's like, wait, it's a slow burner. I'm going to get you just a second. He's like, you got to listen to the whole thing. And Ty's like, no, dude, like, I'm not letting you stay here trying to woo my girlfriend away. Like, you broke into my house and I don't like you. Leave. And the spoiled kid's like, fine. And he gets up and he walks out. And so at this point, Ty and Caroline are like, oh my God, like, what just happened? So they're sitting there and they're just like talking about what happened, right? Because they're like, at this point, they think the spoiled kid got up and left. And they're just like, oh my God, like, this is actually insane. And so they're just talking about it or whatever. And that's when they hear a creaking noise coming from the kitchen. Yeah, and that's when they realize that the spoiled kid is still in the house because the mom has not arrived back because you would hear the car pull up and all that kind of stuff. And that's when Ty yells out, spoiled kid, I know you're still here. And that's when they hear someone walk from the kitchen back into the living room, be like, fine, I couldn't leave, but can you blame me? My heart is shattered and it must be repaired. And Caroline, you're the only one who can repair my heart. And she's like, dude, no. He's like, no, you don't understand the truth, Caroline. You and I are meant to be, and this evil man is keeping us separate. He's evil, I'm telling you. And Caroline's like, no, like, question mark, like, dude, I don't know how to break this to you. I'm not gonna be your girlfriend. He's like, no, Caroline, you just don't understand. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. Like, I need to have you. And like, everyone, like, Ty's like, whoa, you're being a little aggressive here. He's like, no, I need to have her. I need to have her. You have something that I don't have, and I need to have it now. I want it. I want to have it. And Caroline's like, why, what? And Ty's like, yo, bro. He's like, I hate it when other people have stuff that I don't have. You guys have something that I don't have, and I must take it from you, and you must now. And like, Ty's like, dude, chill out and get out of my house. He's like, no, Caroline, you're gonna be my girlfriend right now. I'm gonna count to 3. 1. And Caroline just looks at him like, wait, do you actually think this is gonna work? 2. Caroline's just like, nope, not. 3. Caroline's like, nope. And he's like, but I counted to 3. You're supposed to do what I say on a count of 3, and you didn't. I counted to 3. And the spoiled kid's like, and that's when Ty's mom walks into the house and is like, oh, Ty, you didn't let me know you had another friend coming over. Yeah, and Ty looks at his mom and kind of gives one of those like looks of like, no, not like this, not like this is weird. So she's like, oh, what's your name? He's like, my name's Spoiled Kid. Says his actual name, but hi, Spoiled Kid. So, and like Ty's mom is looking at Ty, giving like the get him out of here look, and she's like, so I don't know if we're trying to have buddies over right now. The spoiled kid's like, I'm not Ty's buddy. I want his girlfriend, and she won't be mine. And Ty's mom's like, oh. So Ty's mom started to realize the situation going on right now, that Ty was dealing with a grade A spoiled kid. So she's like, okay, Okay, Janice, you've done this before. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I think everyone's actually leaving the house right now, so you can't stay. And the spoiled kid's like, I'm not going anywhere until Caroline is mine. Checkmate, Caroline, you must be mine now. And Ty's mom literally comes up behind him and starts pushing him gently. And the spoiled kid's like, I'm not going anywhere. And Ty's mom then kind of grabs him by the scruff of his collar, but very gently, but forcefully at the same time, removes him from the house. Like, it was so nice meeting you, spoiled kid. I'm so sorry that we're busy right now. We actually have family. And she's literally pushing this kid forcefully out of the house, but acting super nice while kicking him out, basically. He's like, wait, where are you taking me? Is Caroline going to be outside the house? Because if Caroline's not going to be outside the house, I'm not going to be outside the house. No. Caroline has to be mine. No. And she's like, all right, and goodbye. And literally slams the door in his face. Turns back to see Ty and Caroline.